Hello, my dear friend. How are you? Today, I will teach you two stories about flying. The first part, his first flight. Okay, what is first flight? I'm just telling you with an example. Do you remember when you started to walk or run? Do you remember the days? Oh, I can't say anything, but that was your first flight in this world, and that was a amazing experience for you. In the same way, in this story, we will read about a seagull. Seagull is a seabird, and the whole nation describes about his first flight. First flight. Okay. So what is it? In this nation, we get a message. God help those who help themselves. Okay. If you will try, God will help you. If you apply for, God will help you. He is above us. He sees everything. But if you will not try, who will help you? That's why it is rightly said, God help those who help themselves. Okay. Second thing, you will read in this story, Seagull wanted to fly, but there was a fear. He can't fly. He reached, he reaches on the bank and he just moved back. Okay. So it simply means for getting success, you have to face obstacles. For achieving success, you have to face impediments. You have to face obstacles. You have to face barriers. After then, you will get success. So one thing is there, keep on trying, don't leave it. This is a very nice story for you and it will tell you the first flight of seagull. Okay, now let us start the lesson. The young seagull was alone on his leash. His two brothers and sisters had already flown away the day before. Just I'm telling you, listen carefully. In Seagull's family, there were six members. Six members. Two brothers, one sister, mother, father, and he himself. There are six members in his family, and all of them can fly. They are flying. They are wandering in the sky. Okay, and but Seagull is unable to fly. However, his wings were larger than his two brothers, but he can't fly. It is because of fear. It is because of the hurdles that was in his mind. Okay, he had been afraid to fly with them. Okay, all of them, as I told you earlier, they can fly, but he is afraid to fly. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. Okay, he tried. Listen carefully. Okay, he just he lives on a ledge, and what is ledge? Ledge, it is a projected area of a plateau. Okay, he was in his ledge when he comes at the brink of the ledge, at the edge of the ledge, at the margin of the ledge, at the bank of the ledge. He tries to fly, but again he has fear and he returns back. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. And when he on the ledge, and below it there was vast ocean. It has stretched miles and miles. Okay, he felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran back to his little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. Okay, at night he was in the hole of the ledge. Okay, he tried to. This is the morning, and he tried to fly, but he comes at the margin, and again he returns. Okay, because of a sudden fear. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away. So this is about Seagull's family member. His, their wings were shorter than Seagull, but they flapped their wings and they fly in the sky. Okay. He failed to muster up courage to take the plunge which appeared to him so desperate. Okay. And like that, he also tried to muster means to gather, to collect, to assemble courage, and he wanted to fly, but he again became upset. He 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 is not in a position to move further out of the brink. Okay, when his father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. Okay, and what were Seagull's father and mother doing? They are just moving around seagull, and they are upbraiding means rebuke, child, scold. They scolded him. Okay, and they also treated him, you will die of hunger. Okay, okay, lack of food, you will die. Lack of food if you don't fly. Okay, that's why for your life, for the life of seagull, he should fly because he has not eaten anything for 2 hours, 24 hours. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all the day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. Okay, so for 4 hours, no one had come to him, and his father and mother were teaching the art of flight to his his brothers and sisters. Okay, they also taught them how to skim the waves, how to dive for fish, how to catch fish. Okay, he had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it, standing on a rock while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. Okay, so what happens? His older brother catch herring. Herring means it is a kind of sea fish. It is a sea fish, and he was standing on the rock, and there was fish in his beak. Okay, and his parents His parents were praising him. They were proud of him. They were cackling. Okay? And all the morning, the whole family had walked about the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. And as I told you, it was the time of morning. So all the family members of Seagull were walking. They were flying around him or around the big plateau. Okay, it was opposite of that ledge, and they were criticizing. They were taunting him. Why? Because they consider him as a coward. This is an act of cowardice. He has fear. He has afraid. That's why Sigurd's family members were commenting to Sigurd. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his leg that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Okay, and in the sky it was scorching hot. It was too hot. Okay, the sun was ascending in the sky. Okay, and it seems like it is burning, and he also felt heat. Sigurd also felt heat, but second thing is that he had not eaten since the previous night. What is previous for 24 hours? He has not eaten anything. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge and standing on one leg with another leg hidden under his wings, he closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to falling asleep. Still, they took no notice of him. Okay, so what happens? Listen carefully. Sigurd pretended. Okay, what did he pretend? He just moved slowly to the brink of the ledge, and after that he kept one leg with another leg hidden, and and another leg is hidden under his wing, and he closed eyes. He could closed eyes, and he pretending to be falling asleep. Okay, it simply means that Sigurd wanted to draw the attention of his family members to give him something to eat, fish, whatever it is. But he wanted to show this thing. Still, they took no notice of them, and his family members did not take care of him because all of them wanted Sigurd to fly, otherwise he will die of hunger. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their neck. His father was preening the feathers on his white back. Okay, only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a little high hump on the upper plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Okay, so his he saw Sigurd saw his two brothers and his sister were on the plateau in front of him. Okay, and they were dozing. They were dozing, and they had kept their heads into their necks. Okay, and his father, means Sigurd's father, was sharpening the feathers with his white on his white back. Okay, means Sigurd's father was sharpening feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. Okay, She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Okay, his mother was only seeing him. Now and again he tore at a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side her beak on the rock. Okay, so what happens? She tore, means his mother tore a piece of fish. Okay, that lay that was under his feet. Okay, and after then he took the scrap in her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him. How he loved tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to eat it. Okay, so as we know, Sigurd was hungry. Okay, and it maddened him. Okay, and he also wanted to tear the fish. Okay, and also wanted to keep the scrap of fish in his beak. Okay, and he also wanted to sharpen his beak. Okay, ga ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Ga hola, screamed back decisively, but he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. Okay, he was crying, ga ga ga. Okay, and so that someone will come to give him food. Okay, and he and but but what happens? Her His mother screamed back. He was mocking to Seagull. Okay, but Seagull was kept calling sadly with pain, with sorrow. He was calling his mother, and after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. Okay, and now Seagull was very happy. Do you know why? Because Seagull's mother picked up a piece of fish and he was flying near to him. Okay, he leaned out. Okay, means Seagull leaned out, okay, eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. And as I told you, Seagull was on the brink of the ledge, okay, and his mother was very, very nearer to her, and she was flying across him. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. Now, look here. How does Seagull's mother want to fly to the first flight of Seagull? Okay, his mother wanted Seagull should fly anyhow or any means he should fly. Okay, that's why these were the activities done by Seagull's mother. What did she do? Okay, she was opposite of Seagull and she stopped there. Okay, she did not sit, she stopped there. Okay, and her wings were motionless. It was not flapping. Her wings were not flapping. It was motionless, and she was having a piece of fish in her beak, and it was very close to Seagull. Okay, Seagull waited a moment and in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then maddened by hunger, and Seagull thought his mother will give food to him. But what happened? He did not. She did not give him food, and she flew away. She flew away. Okay, so he was very hungry, and it maddened him by hunger. He lived at. He died at the face. Within a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. But now look, listen carefully. He wanted to get the fish from his mother, but what happened? As he tried to get it, he was in the space. He was in the space. He was moving outwards, downwards into the space. Then a monster seized him, and his heart stood still. And as he was in the space, he was very. He was afraid. He was afraid, and he has fear. Okay, a huge terror caught him. Okay, and his heart stood still, and he thought he would die. Okay, he could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute, and he was in the space. He can't listen anything, and it was continued for a minute. That time was only for a minute. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. Okay, the wind rushed against his breast, feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. And after this, then now this is the time he was in the space and he was about to fly. He could feel the tips of wings cutting through the air, and his wings were cutting the air, and he was now flying. He was not falling headlong now, and he did not fall, but instead of falling, he started to fly. He was soaring gradually downwards, outwards, and he was high above, and he was gradually, and sometimes he was downwards and outwards. Okay, he was no longer afraid. Now there was no fear. His fear has been vanished. It has been disappeared. Now he is flying. Now he can't believe in himself. He just felt a bit dizzy, and after he felt something confused, he was confused. Okay, then he flapped his wings once, and he soared upward. Ga 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 ga. His mother soared past him. Okay, and no, he was not afraid. He clapped his wings once again and he moved upwards. Okay, he saw he was flying in the sky. Okay, he was no, no, sing, calling, ga 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 go. His mother stood past him, and his mother, Mr. mother, was behind him, and he passed away. Okay, so means to catch anything very quickly. Okay, her wings making a loud noise. He answered on the scream. He answered her with on the scream, and he also cried. She also cried. Then his father flew over him, screaming. He saw his two brothers and sisters were flying around him, curvating and banking and soaring and diving. Okay. After then, all the family members of Seagull were flying. His two brothers, his sisters, all were around him. And what? How were they flying? It was curvating. Curvating is you might have seen a horse. How does a horse run? He just put his leg. Then in another next time he just put his leg. Okay, instead he is doing. Okay, he was not running as we run. We human beings run. He has a different way of running, and that process is called curvating. Okay, they were ranking there so high they were diving. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and commanded himself to dive and soar and curve, sinking steadily. Okay, after then, Seagull thought that he he earlier he never thought he could fly, but now he's flying. Okay. For second thing, he praised himself. Commended means praised, appreciated himself, or encouraged himself. Okay, and to dive and soar and curve as he was soaring. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little trees moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and called amusedly. Okay, now he was above the surface of sea level. He was flying straightly. Okay, and he saw the vast ocean, green carpet. You can say it. See, it is the surface of ocean. Okay, and he was uttering. He was calling, called with happiness. His parents and his brothers and sisters had landed on his green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning him, calling shrilly. Okay, his parents, merciful parents and brothers, sisters, all were on the green carpet, or you can on all of them were above the surface of water or sea, and they were signaling him. They were beckoning and signaling him. They were calling sharply, means sharply. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea, and he means Seagull also dropped his leg below the sea, or on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings, but he was tired and weak and with hunger, and he could not rise, exhausted. Okay, he was now on the surface of sea, and you can see he was screaming. Okay, now as we know, Shigul was very hungry. He was very tired. Okay, he can't do anything. It was a kind of exercise, strange exercise, a queer exercise for him. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. Okay, his feet was under the level of the sea. Okay, and his belly touched the sea, but he did not sink into the sea. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dog face. He had made this his first flight, and after then his family members gave him food to eat. Okay, and they offered him dogfish to eat, and really this was the first flight of Seagull. As you know, this is a very interesting story. In this story, we get a message. We should keep on trying. We should not fear of any obstacles in our life. We should try to overcome it. Okay, so in this way, anyway, anyone can get success. Otherwise, fear, hurdles, hesitations are the main factors for not achieving success. Okay, we should overcome our fear, and after that, we can do anything. Thanks to all.